name is Todd. I just came back from work, so I look terrible right now, but I don't think it really matters for this project. But today I'm going to be talking about this book I've been reading for my book talk, and it's called Prisoner B3087. I just finished it like last week, and I started doing the questions for the book talk, and it's one of my favorite books. It's about this boy who's Jewish, and he goes to at least 10 concentration camps and marches, and how he survives the Holocaust. And I can't wait to tell you all about it. It's a biographical fiction, so it's based on a true person. It's based on Jack Gruner, but the main character, the protagonist's name is Yannick, so he's taking on that role. Yes. A list of the characters and describing them. Yannick is the protagonist, and his story is based on the real life, like I just said, Jack Gruner, his experiences during World War II. Mosh is Yannick's uncle and Oscar's brother. At the beginning of the book, Mosh lives in Krakow with the rest of Yannick's family. And unlike Oscar, Mosh is initially skeptical of the Nazis in the new restrictive politics and policies concerning Jewish people, which he fears will lead to attempt to kill all the European Jews. But Oscar is Yannick's father and Mina's husband. Mina is his mom. Unlike his brother, who's extremely aware of the Nazis' occupation on Krakow, Oscar remains optimistic, even as the Nazis take over and subject the Jews for worse and worse conditions. Fred is a boy about Yannick's age who he befriends at Auschwitz, and then, though Yannick is wary of getting too close to another person because Mosh, his uncle, gave him advice to not get close to anyone because they could die, or just try to stay in your own lane. Yannick finds comfort in talking to Fred about his past life and his family. I want to mention Isaac. He's a boy in Yannick's barracks at Plazau, which is a concentration camp. When Yannick discovers the crawl space, in the book he discovers a crawl space under the floorboard, and he shares this information with Isaac and another boy named Thomas. Yannick is glad to have their company, not only for the ability to talk about themselves and their previous lives, but also because he feels that it's making a difference by helping them. Yannick is a very selfless person in this book. There are some Jewish people that are like Uncle Mosh, who stay in their lane, but Yannick is very selfless and likes to help people and thinks that he can make a difference by helping people get through the Holocaust. Goethe is a Nazi commandant at Plazau concentration camp. He's notorious for his cruelty and shooting Jewish prisoners at random on the parade grounds every morning. So in the book, they go through like morning by morning, and Goethe, this is what they call him, he's notorious for shooting Jewish people every morning for not doing what they're supposed to. The first time Yannick goes to roll call, Goethe sicks his dogs on a man standing beside Yannick, illustrating how random misfortune could take any prisoner's life at any time. So like right next to him, he just had his dogs attack and kill someone. So he's a very at like the chapter of where he was in Plazau, he was very crucial. Explain the setting. It takes in place in Poland during World War II when the Nazis invade. Some other books from the author are Refugee, Ground Zero, 2 Degrees, Allies, Grenade, and a lot more. Like, he has a lot of books that have very similar covers to this. I looked it up. They might be all about, I think they're all about historical fiction. I don't know if he does any other genres, but I'm gonna explain 5 major events that happened in the book. 1, Unique got to Plzeň. This is when Unique got to Plzeň concentration camp, which was near Krakow, his hometown. So this was right near it. He saw his Uncle Mosh and shouted, but almost died because of it. He saw his uncle and shouted because he was so excited to see his uncle, and he just got ripped away from his family. And he shouted, say hi, and he almost got shot. So that was a very crucial part in the book. 2, Goethe, his full name is Amon Goethe, but he was the guard that killed his uncle because he was not breaking enough rocks while working, and Unique was sad, but he had to shake it off or he would die too. So that was very tragic. After working for hours, another one is, after working for hours and upon hours, Unique and other Jews were transported to another concentration camp in cattle cars where dozens of Jewish people died in jam-packed conditions. I remember this chapter in the book very vividly. He described how packed it was, how just a cattle car where they usually take livestock, they jam-pack people. And in Poland right now it's freezing cold and they don't get any food or water, obviously. So in this part of the book, he's like, I remember him sticking his tongue out of the cattle car trying to catch snowflakes for water. And everyone was just dying around him. He said that someone died beside him and his head fell on his shoulder and he couldn't even move to get the dead person. He had to stand there and the dead person was just on him in the cattle car because it was so jam-packed. It was very, that was awful. Number 4 is, there were 2 death marches. And the second one, it was just the first, except for he had to deal with hypothermia too. He was hungry and had no food, so he asked the capo, which is the leader of his group. It's called a capo. They called that throughout the book. He asked the capo to give him a loaf of bread because they wanted him to work healthy and be healthy, and he actually gave it to him. He was a mean guard, so it was a feat in the book that he actually succeeded and got the loaf of bread. Number 5 is when the Germans surrendered and all the camps were liberated. They moved into nice homes for the ex-prisoners. The Allies came and invaded the Nazis. Until they found their family or found a home, and Unique discovered his old neighbor, Miss Limerick, is still alive, and his cousin Uzik and his wife, and 3 others, and 3 others they took in as a family. They survived too, because at the beginning of the book they had taken a bunch of families in their home. So this is at the end of the book where he's finding out that there are people that he knows who survived. He registered in an orphan program that said he could go to the United States and the war was over. Okay, describe the beginning of the book. It's in 1939 and the Nazis invaded Poland. which started the worst war in history. The Nazis started making Jewish ghettos in cities to round up all the Jews, and the ghettos held up to 30,000 people in a small area in some ghettos. The Nazis charged into their apartment with them, and they had 3 other families with them at this time. And they took all their valuables, and Unique's mother was so frightened that she moved to the pigeon coop on top of the building to hide from the Nazis. In 1941, Unique turned 13 and had to sneak out of his living quarters and have his bar mitzvah under his uncle's bread. His uncle had a bread shop, and in the book, that would be sometimes their only source of food, was to like sneak into the bread shop at night, get food, like make bread all night long, and then bring it back home. And they had to like cover up the bread smell with burning. I forget how they covered up the bread smell, but they had to do that. They had like open windows and burn wood, just wood, so it would smell like smoke and not bread, so they wouldn't know that they were making bread or something. They weren't allowed to practice their religion, so they would get shot. So they had to have his bar mitzvah in the bottom of the bakery. And Unique's parents were captured and sent to concentration camps the same year. And Unique gets captured and sent to Plazout concentration camp that year too. The problem in the book, and then solution. The big problem is Unique's family dies and he's alone, and all he's trying to do is survive and wait for the Allies to invade Germany and save all the Jews, and it ends up happening, but after his family died. If I could continue the story, what would I add? I would add more about his life as a freed prisoner and his life as in America once he got there. They mentioned briefly at the end about him getting to America and finding a wife and getting married to the real lady's name is Ruth. In the book, I forget the character's name, but they're a real couple and they survived the Holocaust together, and book is based off them. But I wish he gave more of a description of how his life was in America once he got there, because they kind of just said he went there, he found his wife. I wish there's more to it at the end. How did the setting make the book better? The setting gave the book an eerie feeling because it always made you on edge and scared for the protagonist, Unique. The gray skies, the freezing winter, nothing warm to wear, the terrible Nazi soldiers, the barbed wire and prison cells. It really hooked you in. You could picture like the story being gray. Like just snow everywhere. Gray buildings, walls, like you can just picture it being gray. Did it give me any new thoughts about my life? It honestly made me appreciate my life more. I'm lucky to be alive, have my family, a warm house. I go to school. Unique in the book always talks about how he loved school and books. It gave me a new outlook on life. How would I have acted if I was in the situation in the book? I would have honestly given up and killed myself. I know that's like a dark take, but if I was going through that, like, I would not even have the mindset of moving on. I would have the mindset of, like, I just want to get out of here. Like, I'm gonna die anyway. I might as well die now. That would be my mindset. And, like, if my family was dead too, I would just kill myself. Compared to the USA, the Holocaust never happened in the USA, and it never will, hopefully. I put that. 5 words to describe the main character. Explain each one. Unique, it's determined because of... Unique is I said he was determined. He's doing everything in his power to stay alive in the Holocaust. He's also brave because he went through 10 concentration camps. In the 10 concentration camps where he starved, tortured, worked mercilessly, like crazy. 3, he's a fighter because he fights the mental pain and the physical pain. He's sympathetic because he has sympathy for the ones who have fallen and the ones who are about to be. He's fearful because he fears for his life daily and fears what his life will become after. Compare this book to the last one. It's like not even close. It's not. My last one, Icebreaker, was a romance. And Prisoner B3087 was a historical fiction. And they have nothing in common. Explain the climax of the book and why it's exciting. The main climax in the book is when Unique and many other prisoners are forced to go on the march. A very long way. The purpose of the march was to transfer the prisoners from one camp to another. During this march, many prisoners died from many things like starvation, exhaustion. I wouldn't say it was an exciting climax, but it was a crucial turning point in the book. Identify one problem in the book and give an alternate solution. Unique was taken to 10 concentration camps throughout the book, which is obviously the main conflict in the book. But being in these camps has really taken a toll on his life as a whole. He says in the beginning of the book, I can actually find it. He says in the beginning of the book, when the Germans invaded his town, if I had only known what I know now, I would have run. I wouldn't have stopped to pack my bag or say goodbye to my friends. If I'd only known what I know now, I would have run. I wouldn't have stopped to pack a bag or say goodbye to my friends, or even unplug my projector. None of us would have. If I were in that situation, I would have wanted to run too. I wouldn't have thought about that. Like, he didn't think about that immediately. I feel like I wouldn't have thought about that either. But at the same time, I feel like I would have ran. But I don't know. It's a really hard decision. Is the title of this book fitting? Yes. The title of the book, Prisoner B3087. Unique and everyone he has loved has been snatched brutally from him. And Unique himself is taken prisoner. On his arm is mark. All the Jewish people have marks on their arms from the Holocaust. And some of the tattoos are if you survived the Holocaust, your tattoo is still on your arm. And his is B3087. That was what his was on his arm. And he still has it on his arm, which is crazy. What character would I choose to be my friend? I would definitely choose Unique to be my friend. And I know it's such an obvious answer. There's not that many other main characters in the book to choose from, but I would choose Unique. He's trustworthy and selfless, unlike some of the other characters in the book who are just trying to fend for themselves and survive. Unique looks out for others too and wants to survive with as many other Jews as possible. Who did the author intend this book for? This book was directed to entertain and inform people about the interesting story of Jack Gruner and the real life Unique. It is intended for young adults, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, that's my book. It's like my favorite book. I've already read it twice already, but it's really good. If you haven't read this book and you're very interested in the Holocaust, you should read this book. It's very interesting and it hooks you in. And unlike other books that I have trouble reading books because they don't catch my interest. Like, they're very slow. But on the first page, of this book, it catches you in and it makes you want to read more. It says, if I know what the next 6 years of my life were going to be like, I would have eaten more. I wouldn't have complained about brushing my teeth or taking a bath or going to bed at 8 o'clock every night. I would have played more, laughed more. I would have hugged my parents and told them I loved them. But I was 10 years old. I had no idea of the nightmare that was to come. None of us did. It was the beginning of September. We all sat around the big table. Like, it caught me in immediately. And that's what a book's supposed to do, and that's what it did for me. Thank you.